So, welcome everybody to our Splashtalks. This is episode 8. Again, this is your podcast for insightful discussions about secure work, information technology, and innovation, as well as everything else about Splashtop. Today's topic will be understanding key success factors, and my guest is Bob Davis. This is our second episode. I've introed Bob before in other episodes. Feel free to go back to those and learn, but it's a amazing resume and a lot of experience that we can learn from. And today we're going to be discussing our performance in the recent Gartner peer reviews to help take out what really matters in a workflow in an organization to drive success with our customers. Welcome, Bob.
Great to be here, Italo.
Yes,
Good
sir.
to chat with you again in one of these Splash Talk episodes.
Yep. And sorry, today, like you said, feels like I rolled out of bed. It's been a busy morning, but we're going to make this work. And this is the mission of this podcast is to add value to our customers, and the substance behind what we talked about today is hopefully what matters, right. Not my early morning.
It's a testament to the fact that the sun never sets on the customer success and customer support.
100%, because I was up early this morning talking to our EMEA team.
There you go.
And that is one of the keys. There is no time or hours on customer success because that doesn't sleep. Customers need the service.
It's a global business. You need a global strategy.
Yes, 100%. Good point. Should we end the podcast there? Anyways, so our first question today, Splashtop's 100% willingness to recommend from the Gartner review. The score is a testament of our strong customer relationships. What do you believe are the key factors that contributed to this outstanding score, and how can we sustain or enhance this level of customer loyalty?
Great question. So first of all, we're really super proud of the fact that we had those ratings and got the strong performer position in the peer review. That's an outstanding testament to the company, to the product, and to our culture. It's important to note that award is 100% driven by customer reviews. It's not something you can purchase. It's not something that's pay to play. It's something that you earn on the backs of people that have hopefully positive experiences with the product. So it's a huge honor, and we're excited about it. I think to achieve that honor, there's really a few key success factors. And first and foremost, the product has to be solid. And what that means is it has to have the kind of performance necessary to do the kind of work that it does. I mean, we're powering people's work, and some of that work requires incredible bandwidth, incredible color depth, incredible reliability. And all of that has to happen while it's secure. So if people feel like there's a compromise that could happen or some kind of security flaw, they're gonna back away. And we've seen that with some of our competitors where they've had issues, and that really throws a wrench in people's confidence in their ability to use the product. So that's critical. And without that in place, I don't think people would ever give a high rating, or certainly not be willing to recommend something that had those flaws. So we take that very seriously. Really close to that, right along with that is the success factor of customer support. We take that incredibly seriously. I've never seen a company, I made this point the last time we chatted, I've never seen a company that has the kind of zealous focus on customer success at every level, from Mark Lee, the CEO, down to every single person in the company, all the customer support people. But really, everybody in the company feels like they're in customer support. And every staff meeting we have, we go through things like what's happening on the social channels, what kind of concerns people might have. We take that, right up into the CEO staff. So everybody's focused on that. Now, when somebody's, when we really work hard to get people up to speed. So when somebody buys a product, customer support actually starts then, where we get on the phone with them and we share our learnings. We know a lot about how people use our products. We know a lot about the kind of normal onboarding pains they might have. And we proactively go through that with them so that we can head those off at the pass, you might say, so that we can solve those problems before they even come. So there's a proactive nature to the customer support and customer success. There's also the reactive nature, which I was alluding to with respect to looking at social channels. What are people talking about? And then we listen to customers. We take that very seriously. There's a quote from one of the reviews where somebody made the point that they like the fact that we've taken every single suggestion that they provided and looked to implement it or solve that to the best of our ability. And that shows a commitment to the customer, not just their use of the product, but also their growth with the product as they evolve, what things they might need, so that we can add features and capabilities and updates to the product that meet their evolving needs as people start to do more and more with Splashtop.
Yeah, if I could add some comments on what happens. Obviously, I'm a big part of our customer success group, working with our account manager team, or work with Steven and our customer support. And I always have a big saying to the team, especially the ones that own and manage accounts, that it's on us to lose a customer, right? And I think when you have that as the almost guiding principle, like, hey, we need to own the responsibility that if something goes wrong with the customer, it's because we're doing something wrong. So when you have that approach, and then you're kind of working backwards, like, how do we make sure we don't lose customers? And, it impacts our process internally. We have a lot of one-on-ones. We review all our accounts meticulously, especially on AM. They have a clear understanding on the relationships they have and what's going on in those organizations. How are we really impacting those orgs? And that's where a lot of that feedback comes in, that we can continue to expand and offer true, meaningful value. And if there are problems, we have meetings on those front and center every week. And as you mentioned, those roll up all the way to the staff meetings, that, it's very clear that it's a core foundation of our org to make sure it's our responsibility to maintain our customers, and our processes and alignments internally reflect that, because if there are issues, we're working to solve. And I think that impacts the end result, which is getting reviews like this. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, I've always thought it was a great anecdote that when you call into customer support at Splashtop, you get a person, no matter what time it is.
Yeah.
There isn't a phone attendant. There's no AI bot in the front end that's trying to, filter out, problems or even route better. You get a person, you get somebody on the end of the phone that can talk to you, whether it's a problem or a concern you have with the product, or whether it's looking at their business needs and calling somebody on your team in the account management organization. I've seen those conversations, and they're all incredibly personal.
Yeah.
I mean, these folks are friends with those customers.
Yes.
And the customers feel like they, have a friend at Splashtop, and that's super important. And I think that is probably the decider that gets that 100% willingness to recommend, knowing that, even if there's a problem, you have a friend there that's going to, hold your hand through solving it. I think that's incredibly powerful.
No, I completely agree. And I know there's just the industry in general kind of has run away from some of those types of relationships, especially when you're software, because you are remote in a lot of ways. But I think we've done a good job maintaining that type of relationship. It feels like, you're someone at the bank that all the time, or your grocery store, somewhere you go. But these are people that you talk with all the time. Like, I know a lot of our AMs have cell phone numbers of our customers, so they can, call in and work with us all the time. No, good points. Next question. So it's still in line with what we're talking about. Could you share how we've optimized the onboarding process to ensure smooth transition for our customers?
Well, I think you've really spearheaded a lot there, Italo. You've, with the onboarding webinars. And I think, not to over-index on that, but I think that that's a really important concept. And it's not just the webinar where we have, every couple weeks, we have a webinar for all the people that have bought the product, signed up and are using the product in the course of the last week. Now, it could be any time, but it's typically the people that have just purchased. And the idea that we have the technical account managers, the customer support people, all participating in that, sharing their knowledge with the customer to help them get on board. It's a very personal experience. It's not a recorded webinar. It gives the people the opportunity to ask questions about their specific environments, which is really one of the things that sets that whole approach apart. It's not just, some, general Google webinar, or video. It's a person that's actually talking to you saying, yes, well, when I did that, this is how you can avoid that problem or whatever.
Yep.
I think that's a testament to the work that you and the team have done. As we've grown and brought in more folks and we bring in people, and the very first thing people start to do is, how can I, in my position, in my job, make our customer journey better?
Onboarding is, to me, so important. And it, obviously, a lot of my career has been in the new business acquisition, but onboarding really starts from the moment they get on our website, in my opinion, because there's, obviously someone comes in, they're trying to identify, do we have a solution for their problem?
Right.
And they may work with an AE, they may buy online. But what occurs in those first, 14 days, those first 30 days, how much we can interact and learn from our customer, what they're trying to solve, what we're trying to do, really impacts that whole onboarding journey, the adoption journey, especially our product. There's so much new capabilities we're rolling out. It's hard to keep up. How do we make sure people are aware of what they can do? Not only that, the best practices on the workflows that they're doing. People that are live or people that are editing things. One key feature that I think really impacts users they may not even aware is you can transfer up to 60 gigabytes of a file, right? And that if you try to do it through email, you can't do that, or you have to do a cloud database. So these are the little nuggets of things we try to make sure people are aware of as they're going through that journey. And as much as they can acquire from the first 14 days, we introduce our AMs when people haven't been bought yet, right? So then we try to plan out, hey, how we're going to implement this in your organization, how we're going to, make sure that you're successful, your users are successful, your admins are successful. So I think having that mindset that onboarding starts early, you want to try to educate as much as possible. You want to make sure there's not necessarily a hand-holding, but there's clear information, clear education on the process, what it takes, good resources. Is this definitely a success factor on these onboards? And I think why it keeps giving us those types of results.
Yeah. I think implied in what you said is a huge focus of the product, and has been from its inception, is to make it intuitive, simple to use.
Yeah.
Which is, the old joke was, I would have written a shorter letter if I'd had more time. It's hard to be precise. Yeah. It's hard to be concise. So, if you can, the analogy there is we add all these new features in, it takes a lot of work to make that look simple and to make the access to that feature intuitive, so that, the control to initiate a particular action is where you thought it would be.
Yeah.
And so by having these onboarding webinars and having these relationships that I've described, product marketing and the product organizations can understand, how people are working with the product. I mean, it's like having a focus group every couple of weeks.
Yes.
And that informs the product dev teams on how to evolve the user interface and so forth. And on the marketing side, which is near and dear to my heart, you brought up the website, the very first time people get on the website. I mean, we have hundreds of thousands of new visitors every month on that website that are going in and downloading trials and doing whatever they're doing. We pay a lot of attention to making sure that journey is as clean and simple and easy to follow and gets the value to the customer right away.
Yeah.
I brought up value in the past. That's the key. How can we make sure that we're delivering value? And that notion that we haven't delivered a product, we haven't sold a product, we haven't finished a product until the customer tells us that they have it, it works, and it's doing exactly what they thought they should do. That's the value we want to get. And by keeping close eye on that with our customers every step of the way, we not only build the right product, and that is a testament to the scores we've gotten.
Yep.
We support the product, which is a testament to the willingness to recommend. I think that's a huge driver for that. Even the best product, you're not going to recommend if the service is terrible.
Well, and it's interesting because it's kind of full circle, because our customers are involved in a lot of even that onboarding, because we're getting that feedback, we're seeking that feedback and learning from them. How do we improve it? So I think that complements marketing, our customer success, our support team, everyone in the org.
Absolutely.
So next question here, and along obviously the main topic is the success factors within our customers, but with the near perfect score and support experience, what are some of the core practices behind our customer support that have resonated well with users? And maybe we can dive a little bit deeper, because we said, hey, you call and you speak to someone on the phone, but what else can you attribute to what we do with the customer support? And I know, Steven, a big part of that, but from your perspective, especially with the reviews we got in Gartner, that has resonated well with our users.
For me, the blocking and tackling of the processes and procedures in customer support and customer success and these kinds of things, those are well documented and there are industry standards, and there are all kinds of people that will teach you the right ways to do those things.
Yeah.
I think what sets us apart, and I think is not so much the boxes that we check on the processes, but the attitude and approach that every single person on that path, has. Because without that relentless pursuit of customer satisfaction, you can check all the boxes you want. You can have, somebody answer the phone. You can do all that. But the difference between getting a hold of somebody that's enthusiastic, that's happy, that's, interested in what you're doing, that isn't just trying to get you off the phone because they want to get to the next thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that every step of the way, it breaks.
Yeah.
Because customers are touching, and we pointed this out earlier, they're touching not just customer support. They're going to the website. They might chat with an SDR on the website. So they're talking to a salesperson. They might call up and participate in a webinar, on some kind of thought leader. So they touch, somebody at Splashtop then, et cetera. They go through all the way to the point where they've got the product and we're calling them up and wanting to know how they like it. And we're getting, post purchase reviews from them and, in person to ask them what's going on. I mean, these are all approaches we have, but the key again is that every interaction is positive, is reflective of this pursuit. And even at a trade show, in the very front end, when you're meeting somebody at Splashtop for the very first time, you'll see people dressed, in a similar way. You'll see them all understanding the messaging. You'll see how, approachable they are.
Yep.
I think that is a huge component that sets us apart.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. And you hit the nail on the head with the attitude and the people behind. And I think that's one thing we learned over time is there's people that excel in certain activities, especially in our customer support team. If you meet our customer support team, they are helpers at their core. If someone is walking on the street and they need help, they're going to go help. If you need help with anything, they're going to help. And I think that's their attitude. That's who they are. And you're right. That reflects on a call, right? Yeah. And I'm always big on the attitude, even for our AMs, like, hey, you got to consider a lot of things. What is your attitude towards today and what you're trying to accomplish personally, but then to your teammates and then, to the company and most importantly to our customers. Those should impact, how you deal with them and every experience they get. And, we do a good job of we're very empathetic, that team. And I know a lot of folks have so much expertise. And I know that when a client comes on board, that is who they are at the core. They have that attitude of helping, and that reflects through a call, and that probably reflects all the way up to why we can do customer support so well, and hopefully we can maintain that. You know what I mean? Especially as we keep scaling and keep growing.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can maintain that.
I think that's always the challenge is when you get larger and larger, to keep that. And I think, that's where I've been so impressed because, Splashtop has grown significantly over the last few years and that level of customer support has actually improved.
Yeah.
So we've gotten better at it. We care, we listen, and it permeates the entire company. And if somebody has a concern, post something on Reddit where they've had a challenge with something that we're doing, that gets exposed to the entire company. I mean, those things get escalated right away.
Yeah.
And if there's any kinds of trends, they get analyzed, right away. And you'll see anybody in the company can raise that issue.
Yeah.
It's like everybody has a red phone, right into the core of the company. If there's any issues, any concerns, any hurdles, I think it's really a part of the culture and something that I've noticed from the very first day that I got to Splashtop a year and a half ago.
Perfect. Well, Bob, I think we've talked a lot of key topics here in regards to success factors and what impacted that Gartner review. If you haven't had a chance, please take a quick peek at the Gartner peer reviews, and you can read for yourself what our customers are saying. These are very large organizations that are leaving these feedbacks. I feel like there's a lot more we can unpack and kind of dive into, but we've used all of Bob's time already today, and but there will be more. There will be more content we have behind, but I think this is helpful to you and give you some insight on what it takes to be successful with your customers and some of the nitty-gritty stuff that you kind of have to prioritize and keep focus on. Thank you so much, Bob.
Thank you, Italo.
Yep.
Great chatting with you.